Jack Bateson, thanks very much for talking to the Counterpunch. Jack, last time I spoke to you was after your fight at Ellen Road. Obviously, I wasn't quite there that early in the night to watch you fight. You got the win on points. How did it all go for you?
It was good. It was an amazing event. Obviously, it was a different atmosphere than boxing at the Pavilion. Ellen Road, something I've dreamt of since I was a young kid, on the big stage. Also, there was some big names there watching, so there was a bit of pressure and a bit of nerves kicking in, but I was on early. I think I got in the ring around 5:30. A lot of hard work got put in the gym to lead up to it, and I was doing a 4-rounder, so it wasn't too bad, and I felt I performed well, won every round, hurt my opponent a few times, but he was very durable. And he was there to stay for the night, so it was good for me to get the rounds in, and enjoyed it.
And just before we talk about the fight itself, the ring walk, the changing rooms, like soaking up the atmosphere beforehand, what was that all like?
Yeah, it was crazy really, walking into my changing room, Leeds United changing room. It was a bit surreal, to be honest, like even walking out to the ring, it didn't feel like Ellen Road, because the setup was so different to what it usually is for a football game. It seems so different, but looking back now, it's something I'm proud of, and it's an achievement in my boxing career, and hopefully it won't be the first time.
And you mentioned that you were a bit nervous. Did that play a part in any of your performance or anything like that?
I wouldn't say so. It was very hot on the day, and the time that I boxed around 5:30, the sun was sort of beaming through, so obviously they had a shelter above the ring, but the sun was sort of beaming through the side, and like I was red hot in the ring, and if anything, the sun might have played a bit of a part, but you know what, it was hot. I fought at a good pace for 4 rounds. Even though I did feel the heat a little bit, it was good to get that experience, and if one day I do have to fight again outside, then I've already done it once, so it was good, yeah.
And you mentioned Jose Hernandez being a tough fighter. Did you feel they were close to stopping him, or was it?
The first round, I felt like, I can get this kid out of it. He looked really uncomfortable. I started it with a fast pace, and then the second round, the third round, I felt the heat really did sort of play a factor. Like I did slow down a little bit, but because I could feel myself slowing down a little bit, I just sort of took my time a little bit more rather than trying to completely press. But there was times when I felt I could have got him out of there, but it went the distance. He had a hard head. He took some good shots, and it was good for me. I think I'd rather have got the rounds in now, looking back at it, than getting the stoppage, because you learn more, getting the rounds in and getting the experience. Yeah,
and do you feel that the experience will only benefit you going forward? Having that, even the things like like walking to the ring, and obviously the fight as well, but everything surrounding it in terms of it being a massive stadium.
100%, because I had to sell a lot of tickets for the fight. I sold £60,000 worth in tickets in the end, and having all my support there. Fighting at Ellen Road, fighting at home in Leeds, it felt normal. It was good, so I think that experience will play a big factor for when I do hopefully go on to fight in stadium fights and fighting at these big stadiums and going into the changing rooms. It won't feel surreal, hopefully.
And moving on to the main event, obviously Josh winning the world title, it was a fantastic fight. Were you there ringside watching?
Yeah, I was there ringside. Every round that went by, it was like, he's going to do this, you know what I mean? Like, always before, I would sway one way, sway the other, but I always believed in Josh because he's a Leeds lad, and I knew it would be a tough fight no matter what, but Josh has done everything right. He's never showed anything wrong, any bad mistakes in the past. He's always done everything right. He's never really showed any mistakes, and it was just the right time, right place, right time, and he's done it in his own city. We've got our first world champion, and hopefully he can go on and do more, and we can ride the wave and follow in his footsteps. So he's done it, and he's shown that it can be done, because I've grown up with Josh, seeing him fight from a young age, and he's shown that hard work and dedication can get you to where you want to be.
When did you mention, did you meet Josh quite early in your career? When was the first time you started encountering Josh?
Well, before I even started boxing, my brother used to box.
Right.
So I must have been like 6 or 7, 8 years old, and he used to box with my brother. He was the same age as Tom, and I remember seeing him going down to Shark. He's even boxed at my uncle's gym for a bit, Bateson's Burley Hill. He was at Bermontos for a little bit. So I've seen him coming through. I remember him going in the senior ABAs, and I remember him when he actually turned pro. He fought on my dad's show probably about 4 years ago as a pro, and then overnight he just sort of took off, you know what I mean? But he's done the traditional route, and he hadn't had no help from like big promoters early in his career. He's shown that it can be done the traditional route through hard work, and fair play to him, you know what I mean? He's smashed it.
Did you expect him to win against Selby?
I believed that he could win. I'd have never put my house on him winning, because Selby's a good fighter, and he hadn't been beat since he got beat by Menemne, and that was in like a 4-rounder early in his career. So it wasn't impossible, but then again, it was a tough task, and I think I'd be lying if I said to you that he was 100% going to win, because I know my boxing, I know how good Lee Selby is, I know how good Josh Warrington is. I knew it'd be tit for tat, and I had a feeling it'd go to points. They're both tough, fit lads, but you know, there was a lot of doubters, and he proved a lot of people wrong. So yeah, I'm proper chuffed for him. I am chuffed for him.
Does it give you, like you mentioned as well, obviously Josh started from smaller shows, and then he went English, British. I think he won everything. He won English, British, Commonwealth, European, and he won those silver titles, and then onto the, does that give you inspiration, obviously, as someone who started fighting on the smaller shows?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think when I turned pro, there probably was opportunity for me to go and sign with someone and put on these shows and fast tracked and whatever, but I've always believed my dad knows best. He's been in the game a long, long time, and he said, listen, there's no rush. He said, you're young and wants to develop, and he can take me to titles, whether that's on his shows or on big shows, wherever. I believe in my dad, believe in the team around me, and Josh has shown me that he can do it. So yeah, I think he's done it the traditional route, and like you say, he's picked up from British, English, Commonwealth, European. Like, he's done it properly, and look at all them belts he's got to look back on now and say that he's won, because it's a big achievement. It's a big achievement just doing the British title, never mind going and doing it all and then winning the world title. So yeah, I think he's done amazing.
And let's move on to you. Said you were in talks with bigger promoters. Can we push you for names on that, or is that something you're not going to?
Well, I've been in talks, but I sort of leave all that sort of stuff to my dad and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not really my side of the. I just like to get in there and fight, so I leave that all that sort of stuff to my dad. But I think eventually, when the time's right, it will. When it's the right time, I will maybe go on to these bigger shows, bigger promoters and stuff. But I'm happy with where I'm at the minute. And
obviously, with Josh winning, you would presume that there'll be more major nights at Leeds, at Ellen Road. Would you like to be on those undercards?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'd like to think I would be on those undercards. I mean, I do a lot of tickets in Leeds. I've got a big Leeds support fan base, and hopefully, like I say, I can ride Josh's wave, and by the time, like say in a year's time, when I'm looking at titles, I can be on there, and when Josh is defending his world title, I could be fighting for titles then, and eventually we could be like co-headlining and stuff. So I know it's a long way off, and it's a big task ahead, but you've got to have dreams and you've got to have goals, because without that, what do you work towards?
And let's just rewind a little bit. Obviously, I mentioned to you before that we want to sort of talk about everything in your career. Let's just talk about school, if that's alright. Yeah. What were you like in school? Were you hardworking? Were your grades alright?
I was alright. I was the average, really. I was, your sort of C's and stuff like that. I was good at art. I always liked. I know it's nothing like maths or anything, but I liked art. I liked my PE, and then I went to study at college sports coaching, because I always thought, and I'm a boxer, I want to go down that sports route. If boxing fails, I can still be involved, and that sort of thing. And then I went to uni and started doing a sports degree. Before I knew it, I got onto GB squad, and I finally could then pack it all in, which was my hopes and dreams anyway. That eventually one day it'd happen. I could pack it in, and start concentrating full time on my boxing. But I enjoyed school and stuff. I want the best at school or whatever. But I like to have a laugh with my mates and stuff. But it was good. It's all experience in it, you know what I mean? And I'm still in touch with all my friends from school and stuff, and they come watch me box now, so it's good. It's been a good journey.
Were there any other sports? Obviously, I know there's always stories of people saying, if I wasn't a sportsman, I'd have been a cricketer or a footballer. Was there any other sports that you were interested in or good at?
I did football. I loved football. Like, I'd love to be a footballer and stuff, but I'd never say I'd cut it as a footballer, to be honest. But as much as I enjoyed it, I was a striker.
Striker, right.
But I was probably a bit small to be a footballer. I used to just get muscled off the ball, but I did enjoy it. But I think boxing, like, I never thought, when I was young, I thought it was always football. I even thought, like, when I was playing as a kid, I thought, I want to be a footballer. Boxing was never in the equation. That was like my brother's thing. And then when he packed in, I just thought I'd give it a go, and then years have just flown by, and I'm here now.
What's your brother's name? Sorry.
Tom Bateson. Yeah.
So when did he start? How old is he?
He's 28 now.
Right. So four.
Yeah. So he's 4 years older than me, and he's the same age as Josh Warrington. And he actually boxed Josh Warrington in the schoolboys.
Oh, right.
Beat Josh.
Oh, okay.
They used to spar rounds and rounds together. They were good friends. They just happened to have to fight each other one year in the schoolboys because they're in different gyms.
Yeah.
If he'd have stuck at it, he'd have been a very good boxer. Like, he'd have probably, I'm not just saying this, he'd have probably been better than me because he looked really talented at the time, and I think he got a few robberies, because amateur game, it's easy to get robbed and stuff, and he got a few bad decisions, and I think it just wasn't for him. He wasn't enjoying it anymore, so he packed in. He's doing well now with his job and stuff, and he loves boxing. Like, he's always watching it. He's telling me to watch this and giving me advice and stuff. But I think when he packed in and my dad was going to the gym by himself, it sort of gave me that motivation to go with. My dad would say, "Oh, are you coming down?" I was never bothered. And then I said, "Oh, one day I'll go down with him." You know, I felt a little bit sorry for him going down all the time and asking me. I thought he obviously wants a bit of company. And I went down and I just had my first fight, and I got a buzz for it. And then on my I think it was my 12th or 13th fight, I boxed for England as a schoolboy against Ireland. A fighter called Joe Fitzpatrick, who's pro now. I think he must be welterweight or something.
Right.
He's a good fighter anyway. He went to the Commonwealth. I think he won a medal there and turned over. He beat me by a point, and I was never been so upset. Like, I remember crying and thinking, I never want that to happen again. And whereas I never thought I would have been that bothered, and then that just gave me the motivation I never wanted to lose again. And years have just gone by so quickly, you know what I mean? And I have stuck at it. And there was times when I would lose again, but then again you just would get back in the gym. And I always dreamed of going to the Olympics. I mean, I know it never worked out, but you've always, like I say, you've always got to have a goal, because without that, what do you work towards?
And I know you mentioned your dad. Obviously, he's been involved in boxing a long time. Was he wasn't a professional, was he, your dad, or has he just been involved in sort of? I know he's obviously promoting yourself. Is that sort of the only aspect of boxing he's been in?
Yeah, well, he boxed as an amateur. I think up until about the age of 18. Him and my uncle boxed as amateurs up to about the age of 18. I think they had the opportunity and stuff to go pro, but life takes over, and they worked. Luckily for me, I've got a few sponsors and stuff, and I was able to do it full time, and I got in the GB squad. I was getting a wage, whereas back then that didn't exist really. And life took over. He started working, having to provide, I met my mum and stuff, but he always stayed involved with boxing, started coaching as an amateur, coaching my brother, and then he started training pros, whereas my uncle had a gym, Bateson's Burley Hill, and he had some top fighters, created national champion after national champion, and then when they joined forces, and then started training me, just got the best of both worlds really.
So your dad never sort of, I know you said you felt sorry for him, so that's why you went down, so he never sort of encouraged you to try and take up boxing, or pushed you into anything like that?
No, he wanted, like, he'd always say, "Oh, you're coming down, are you coming down?" But he never pushed me into it. Even now, you know, if he sees me eating bad food or having a drink or whatever, he'll never say to me, "What are you doing?" Which I always, because at the end of the day, it's up to me, and I think he understands that. Like, he can never like push me into doing something, and he does understand that. And sometimes I think like he doesn't tell me off when I'm eating bad or whatever. He just says, "Oh, enjoy yourself," you know what I mean? Because he knows that it is down to me, and he knows that I will work hard for when it is time to get on it. I will get on it, and say when my camp starts for September the 7th, when July comes, I'll be on it. So, yeah.
And I thought what was I going to say now? It'll come to it. Oh yeah, your first fight. So does that experience, does that stick out in your memory? Putting on the gloves for the first time, first proper fight?
It doesn't really that much, but my dad's videoed all my fights as an amateur right up until pro, so I've got them all on film, and sometimes I watch back and like it just seems crazy, you know what I mean? Like I think I was 28 kilos, 11 years old. It's mad. Like there's even my second fight was against Reece Mould at 11 years old.
Oh yeah.
Who obviously I'm on the same shows and stuff now as a pro. I ended up boxing him like 5 times in the amateurs, and we had a right war in our second fight, like an absolute war. And it's just crazy to see those ones that stick at it. There's so many that come and go, but those that stick at it, they always eventually get there. And Josh, like you say, is an example of that. He just stuck at it. He's had a few bad decisions and stuff in the amateurs or whatever, or not got to where he wants to go, turn pro, put his aspects into the pro game, and now look. And
you were training at Bermontoffs at that time. Were there particular coaches there that you sort of stick out to you now?
When I first had my first bout for Sharky's amateur boxing club,
right,
and I think I moved to Bermontoffs for like my second or third fight.
Right.
And then I had about 100 and odd fights after that at Bermontoffs. So all my life really I've been at Bermontoffs.
Yeah.
Spent a bit of time at Sharky's.
Why was the switch from Sharky's to Bermontoffs?
I can't remember, I was very young. I know my dad decided to go to Bermontoffs, and I obviously went with my dad, with him being my coach at the time, and there was a great team of lads at Bermontoffs and stuff, and they brought me a long way. It's a great club. It's doing great things now. And I was boxing at the Irish Centre, and then I ended up struggling to get fights on home shows.
Right.
So then it was more like ABAs, schoolboys and stuff when I would get my bouts. And then eventually, like, you just won't get bouts in England, then you'd have to fight internationally and stuff. So it's a good process, you know what I mean, to sort of go through the ranks, and like without fighting on them small shows at working men's clubs and stuff. Without fighting on them, you can't expect to fight in these big arenas that like I'm fighting at now. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think they can just jump in. Like there's so many people that will speak to my dad or my uncle and say, "Oh, I want to be a GB boxer, or this, I want to go to the Olympics, or I want to be a pro boxer in this space of time." But it's just and then their reply will just be like, "I don't think you understand, you know what I mean, like how much you've got to go through to get to that stage." So, but yeah.
Did you feel that you had natural boxing ability, or was it something that you just like you said you had to work really hard to get?
I would say I was quite natural at it. I think because I'd seen it and been around it for so long, like I knew the basics and stuff. Obviously, I've been in and out in the gym as a kid. I mean, I've got pictures with my dad where I was about 3 years old on the pads and stuff. So he probably taught me little things. But I'm still learning now. There's so much to learn, and you can never stop learning. But there is some people that do have to work harder and harder to get to a certain stage. And I feel like with me having a boxing background as a family, it has helped a lot. Yeah.
Did you feel that maybe people, I don't know, I'm trying to think how to phrase this, like with your dad's like being involved in it, and your uncle, that they sort of thought that you maybe knew it all type of thing, or anything like that?
I think I've definitely got an advantage over people because when I lived at home, I could even now, like I can wake up and get on the phone to my dad or my uncle and say, "Do you fancy training me today?" And I'm lucky to have them there. I can guarantee they would say, "Yeah, of course." They're happy to do that. Whereas some people, they've only got the club coach or a coach, and like they can't just ring them and be on the other end of the line and get that sort of training. So I'm lucky to have them there, and they've always been there to help me. They've never been there to gain things from me, you know what I mean? So I'm lucky to have them there. So.
And I don't know if this is sort of going off on a bit of a tangent, but I don't know if you remember that the WBC made a rule about how they wouldn't allow fathers to be the main trainer for the fighters in their fights. So this was one of the reasons why Josh, I think he won with the WBC silver or international, one of those titles.
And then he didn't go down the
route.
route.
He was going up that ranking, like meant to be fighting, and then the WBC made that rule, and obviously with him having his dad as his trainer, he never ended up fighting for that title, so he went down in IBF instead. So, well, what are your thoughts on that? Because your dad, obviously with him being in your corner like now, and you know, has he ever, you know, pulled you out, you know, like when you're getting beaten up or?
No, not really. My dad's more like, say I'm having a bad spar, he knows that if that happens in a fight, I'm gonna have to get through it. So even though he's my dad, he's tough on me, you know what I mean? But I'd rather that, because rather than him being soft with me and saying, "Oh no," because he's my dad, I'd rather him tell me, like when I'm doing bad, he'll tell me the truth. If I'm doing good, he'll tell me the truth. But if I've been bad or there's something that needs to change, he will tell me. And it can be annoying sometimes because he's my dad, but I'd rather that than someone who's gonna just you know, wrap me in cotton wool. He's a coach at the end of the day, and my uncle, I think, because my uncle's my main trainer and he's not my dad, there's a little bit more, not respect, but
bit more of that sort of
more as a coach rather than an actual dad. So there's even though he's my uncle, he's not as close as I am obviously to my dad. So sometimes, like say, when me and my dad we're training or whatever, and I feel like I'm in a bit of a mood, it's easy for me not to really listen to my dad. Whereas if it's a coach, it's a bit more, but there's not respect, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get it. What's your uncle's name, sorry?
Martin. So it's Martin's my uncle and Mark's my dad.
And Tom's your brother.
And Tom's brother. Yeah.
So you've two or three fights in. When do you start boxing for England, and how does that process go from you boxing on these smaller shows in Leeds as an amateur to then boxing for England? What's that process?
I was just like, as anyone does in the amateurs, like your club would ring another club and say, "Oh, have you got anyone at this weight?" You get matched, you go to Doncaster, go to wherever. Went to Ireland a few times to fight with Bermontoffs. And then what happens is you start going in schoolboy national championships, which is like the ABAs but for youngsters.
Right.
Went in the schoolboys.
How old were you at this point, sorry?
I think you can go in the schoolboys, your first one is at 12, I think.
Alright, that's fine.
So I went in the schoolboys, and you start Yorkshire region. If you win the Yorkshire region, you go through then to the pre-quarters or quarters, and you fight like the Midlands and stuff. Then you go through to the semis and end up like I boxed at York Hall at age of 12, a lad from Finchley, and then I got to the final. I boxed a lad from Knowsley Vale in Liverpool, and I won. And then you get selected for England then to sort of, because you're the best in the division at that weight and age, you then box the best from another country or whatever. And I was always too light to box in like the Europeans and stuff. For some reason I didn't have my weight, always the next one up.
Alright.
So anyway, Mick Gannon, he made sure I managed to get a bit of experience for England with again in a fight against Ireland, and that was the one that I lost. And then the following year I won the school national championships again. I was still too light to go in the Europeans and stuff, and then the third year I was too light again, but I won the national I'm one of the only people to win 3 schoolboy titles on the spin. I think there's a couple of people that have done it in England, but there's not many at all. But I was always too light then to go and get experience in the Europeans on World and stuff like that. And then I filled out a little bit as a junior, and then when I was winning national titles then as a junior, I was then able to go and represent my country in like Europeans and stuff. So that was when I started to get the international experience, when I got to like 16, 17 and stuff.
Was it a bit surreal, boxing for England? How old were you when you first boxed for England? 12, 13?
Yeah.
It
was good. It was good.
Like a surreal experience. That.
Yeah, it was a buzz. Like, I've still got the England vest at my dad's today. Like, it was a proud achievement. Obviously, it wasn't the best start for me with me losing my first fight for England, but it was good. And like, it was a bit. I was really shy, like, as a kid, and it was a bit like overwhelming. I used to get really nervous. I went through a stage from about the age of 13 to 16 where I used to throw up before fights, and anyone that knows me or boxed with me internationally would tell you, like, I'd be in the change rooms and I'd be like warming up and something just come over me and I'd throw up, and I'd still manage to go in there and fight. But I grew past that. Like, I could have easily like thought, right, this is not for me, this. But I got over it, and now I feel like that experience has, brought me a long way, because dealing with that and then having to get in there and do the business was a hard thing.
Was it just nerves that made you throw up? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was nerves, and then once I'd thrown up once, like, I used to get it in my head like, oh, I'm gonna throw up, and then the next minute I'd throw up. Like, I don't know what, it was just real bad anxiety.
Yeah.
And then after the fight I'd be like, oh, why was I so nervous? Like, I loved that, like, I enjoyed it. So it was strange. But I just think I wanted it so bad. There was so much pressure. I put pressure on myself. No one else had put pressure on me, but I put pressure on myself because I wanted to achieve it so much. And eventually, once I think it all really stopped when I'd lost a few fights, and I just thought, you know what, sod it. If it happens, if I lose, I lose. Like, say if boxing ends tomorrow, sod it. You know what I mean? Like, I can still live a happy life. Like, I've done well out of boxing. Like, even today, I think to myself, I'd be devastated if boxing all ended tomorrow. But boxing's been good to me, and I've loved it. So I try not to put too much pressure on myself, because that's when it brings the best out of me. You know what I mean?
Was there any particular standout fights, or anyone that's sort of like professional now that you fought around that time as a schoolboy?
As a schoolboy, yeah, I fought some good kids, like, over the years. As an amateur, I wish I had my medical card now, because as an amateur I fought some good kids. Like, I fought the likes of Joe Mafosa, Charlie Edwards, Lee McGregor. He was one of my last fights as an amateur. Who else? There's loads, honestly, but
is there anyone that sort of stands out as that being the toughest fight of your amateur career?
Fight. The toughest fight of my amateur career was I boxed. His name was Shakabidin Zoirov from Uzbekistan. Right. I boxed him twice. He won the Olympics flyweight. Wow. 2016, the ones I didn't go to. I always remember when I jumped out the ring with him. Not the first time, I got beat on a split decision against him, and it was very close. I boxed him again a second time, and he beat me fair and square, and he beat me in good style. And I jumped out and I said, oh, he's good, you know what I mean? Like, he's really good. I've never really been in with anyone like him. And I actually won a bit of money of him in the Olympics, because I kept, every time he'd fight, I'd think, oh, I'll put a bit of money on him, because I knew how good he was, and I knew the people in my weight division. And he ended up going there and winning, and I think he was a big underdog. He won gold. He's still amateur now, and he's up at my weight now, so he's moved up as well. But he was really good, yeah. And
so you've had your schoolboy fights. When do you start fighting? You fight as a senior after then, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, you go schoolboy, junior, youth, which is like 17, 18, and then you do senior then, which is anything from 17 onwards. Right.
And you win 2 ABA titles.
Talk us
through those 2 wins.
I went in the. You were back then. You were allowed to go in the senior ABAs at 17, whereas I think it's 18 or 19 now. I'm not sure. And I went in at 17. I just thought, you know what, sod it. Like, it was a risk at the time, because I still had another year in the juniors. But you can choose to go in at 17 if you want. So I went in at 17. I was light flyweight, which is 48 kilos.
What's that in stone? Sorry.
In stone. It's basically light flyweight in the pros. So in stone, I'd say
Is that around like £110?
Yeah, it's not alright. I think it's short as 8 stone anyway.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But I was tall for the weight. I boxed five times in that. I won at 17 at York Hall again, and then so once I won that, like, that was on Box Nation, so I got a bit of publicity from that and a few people talking about me.
Yeah, I think I saw that on YouTube, just doing some
Yeah.
research. Was that
it was against a kid from West Ham.
right?
So I won that, and that was about when my GB career was sort of taking off. And then I had a few fights internationally for GB at 17, got on full time, was able to pack in my uni degree, and then the next year I went in the ABAs again, and I probably could have done 48 kilo again, but there weren't really many people around at that weight, and the international it was 49 kg, and I was fighting at that regularly. So I went in at 51 kilos, which is flyweight then, which I was weighing in probably 49.5, 50 kilo, and I boxed 5 times, boxed some good kids. I'm trying to think of a few kids I boxed. I boxed a kid called Osman Aslam from Manchester.
Yeah, he's pro now.
He's pro. He's had about 11-0. Yeah. Beat him. I think he's Sammy Vedian.
I think he's with Joe Gallagher.
Joe Gallagher, that's it.
I don't know if he's like.
I know he's been on a few Eddie shows, but
yeah.
might be through Joe Gallagher. So I beat him. I beat Joe Mafosa, who I'd done a lot of work with, inspiring on GB and stuff. A good pal of mine. Ollie Simpson I beat from Leeds, who had just won the World Youths.
Wow.
At flyweight, gold medal, and I went to the same Worlds at the weight below, and got to the quarters. I boxed 4 times, got to the quarters and got beat. I say got beat, I got robbed off a Philippine,
right.
And he went in at the weight above and he won. Won gold, so I was a bit like, right, that's my time now. So if I can beat him at the weight above, I like it. It means a lot for me. And anyway, I beat him. And then in the final, who did I box? I boxed Joel Spragg in the final from Spennymoor.
I'm not heard of him, to be honest.
And that was on Sky Sports. He was from Spennymoor. I think he got to this ABA final the year before.
Right. So how you mentioned all these fighters that you beat him? What was it? What's the time space in between these fights?
In the ABAs?
Yeah. Is it in like?
It's like weekly, so it's like
right.
week after. So you'll fight 1 week in your regional. The next week or 2 will be your pre-quarters.
Yeah.
So it goes on for like a month and a half, 2 months. So you've got to stay like peaked for that 2 months.
Yeah.
Make weight every time you fight on the day. So then when I boxed in the final, I beat him. And then I went back down then to light flyweight to go in the Europeans as my first senior international like major, and that was when I won a bronze in the Europeans in Belarus. Some good fighters were there with me on the team, like I said, Joe Joyce, he won a bronze with me. Andrew Selby won the gold, and we were the only ones that medal. But then there was the likes of like Anthony Fowler with us, Josh Taylor, Gamal Yafai. Like our team was solid, you know what I mean? We had a good team, and a picture came up the other day because it said something like 5 years ago today on Facebook, and just sat around the table like there's a lot of good lads, you know what I mean? And it's all them have come through now and they're doing good things, so it's good to look back on.
So you signed, when do you sign with Team GB?
I was 17. So I'm 24 now, so it's like 7 years ago, yeah.
And does that Team GB, that makes you full time? Is
that
right?
Full time, yeah. At first, I was on the development squad.
Right.
When I'd just turned 17, and I was only on there for like half a year, which is every other weekend you go for 4 days.
Right.
So then I was still at uni and stuff and whatever, and then after like 6 months I said, right, we want you to come on full time now. Which was a big relief for me. That's when you start, like, you get paid a little wage when you're on their development, because obviously you're only there 4 days every 2 weeks, whereas when you're on full time, Monday to Thursday every week, and then come home for the weekend, that's your job. So that was a big relief for me and a proud moment, you know, just getting like, I'd always dreamed of like getting the GB kit, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was at 17.
And were they based in Sheffield still then?
Sheffield, yeah.
So did you live there, or were you just commuting, or?
I lived there from Monday to Thursday, and then came home on the weekend. Well, to my mum and dad's, yeah.
What was that experience like, living away from home?
At first it was, it was like at first, it wasn't easy, but it took a bit of getting used to. Like obviously I missed home for a bit at first, but like you get used to it. And like the friends and team there become family. I would always, from the day that I started on podium full time to when I finished that, we had a house. Me, Kez Ashfaq from Leeds.
Hi.
So I used to travel up with him quite a lot. Joe Cordina from Wales, who's doing really well as a pro. Galal Yafai, he got onto GB a little bit later, but he moved into our house. He's smashing it now. And Fraser Clark, who's been there for a long time, he's been there way before me, like another 4 years before me.
He's still there now,
yeah, he's still there now, and he's smashing it. His time's come, so that was like our house at the time. So, but met a lot of good friends, and like, they become like family. You know what I mean? You see them more than you see your mum and dad back home, so it was strange but good.
And you mentioned you're reeling off all these different names that talented fighters that have won, you know, loads as amateurs and now moving on to professional. What was that? You know, you're in a gym with all these different world class fighters. What was that like?
It was amazing. Like when I first got on was before the 2012 Olympics, and I actually went to London 2012 to do base. I was the main sparring partner for Andrew Selby and Nicola Adams, you know, to help them.
Right.
In the last bit of prep in London, and Sam Maxwell came with me, and he was sparring with like Tom Stalker and stuff. But we were all on the same level at that time. Like you say, at the time, none of us had achieved anything.
Yeah.
Like, so it just seemed normal.
Yeah.
You know, they'd come through. They were like similar age to me. And then it's not until they start like some of them are achieving some really good things now. You think, bloody hell, you know, they were in the same position as me, you know, not long back. So, but it's good to see that generation coming through. It just gives me self-belief that I was in that generation, and I can hopefully be winning titles soon enough. But it's good. Like I'm still in touch with them all. They're all still in touch with me, especially through social media. Is a lot better now. I just hope that one day we can all fight on the same bill, you know, on these big cards.
If I had to push you, is there any one fighter that stands out as the best from that group of, you know, Selby, Joyce, Cordina, Ashfaq, you know, all those that you mentioned? Is there one that you would say was the
everyone
best?
Everyone had the different attributes. Joe Cordina was quite special. Like he's very naturally talented. Like if we'd go play a bit of football or whatever, he was always the best at everything. Like, you know, some people are good at one sport and he was just like talented at everything, and everyone's like, oh, fuck off. And everyone calls him, he's nicknamed the Welsh Wizard because like he is the wizard. Like he just seems to be good at everything, you know what I mean? And but everyone has their own attributes. Like Joe Joyce, like people can watch him sometimes and think, oh, he doesn't look all that, but he's a special fighter, and everyone has got their own sort of attributes, and he's good at whatever, and it's good that we're all in the same gym, because we take a little bit from each other.
Was Anthony Joshua around that gym at that time as well?
Yeah. Joshua was there. I first met him when he was training for the 2012 Olympics, and he's just like a humble guy, and he was exactly the same as he was then than what he is now, you know what I mean? Like, he hadn't changed at all. And even when he won the Olympics, it took him like a year before he actually turned pro, because he was weighing up his options. He wanted to go to the Worlds and win a world medal, a gold medal, and like eventually he decided to turn, which was the right move. And he still goes and trains at the Sheffield squad now, so he's a good bloke.
Let's talk about, so 2012 Olympics comes around. I didn't actually know this story until I read the programme for the Warrington Selby fight. I'll repeat what it said, and then you can like put your own side. So you were meant to box Muhammad Ali.
That's right. Yeah.
Not the Muhammad Ali, obviously.
Yeah.
In like a qualifier, and then.
Yeah.
But then Ali withdrew from that, and then GB selected him to go to the game instead of you, and then later, I don't know how much later it was, he fails a drugs test.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was on the GB podium squad, and I wasn't the number one flyweight in Great Britain at the time. Andrew Selby was. And then there was Charlie Edwards and me and Charlie were on like a bit of a par. Charlie beat me in the senior ABA final when I went for my third ABA title at flyweight, and he was sort of put just a little bit ahead of me because of that, and he won he went to the Commonwealth Games and stuff, and then he decided to turn pro. So then I thought, well, there's only me and Selby now. So we were training. I always sort of thought, well, Selby's going to go to the Olympics probably over me. But he sort of went missing. He lost motivation as an amateur, and he just sort of went missing. He wanted to turn pro, but he was in the contract to stay for the Olympics with GB, and he just went missing. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go to these Olympics.
Went missing as in
he just he wouldn't come, didn't turn up to GB and stuff like.
Right. Okay.
He wasn't turning up to squads. And he wanted to turn pro, so I thought, well, this is my chance now to jump in, you know what I mean? Like, my time's finally come round. So I'm training away, and I had an injury, I had a nose injury, where I had to get, I had to have an operation on, I had like a swelling of a blood vessel in my nose.
Right.
Hematoma is what it's called. And they had to release the blood and stuff, so that ruled me out of the Europeans. And at the time, Muhammad Ali was on the development squad. He just got on because he won the ABAs, but I was advised not to go in these ABAs because I had a lot coming up with the likes of qualifiers and stuff in Europeans. Anyway, he went to these Europeans. I think he won a fight, or he didn't win a fight, and he got cut. Anyway, he then got moved up to podium, and he was still on development. So I got back into training, and my nose had fully healed. I was training, sparring and stuff, and the actual qualifiers came round, and it was Europeans again, I think. And I remember Rob McCracken sitting me down and saying, Jack, you're not going. And I was like, I was fuming, and in my head I thought, oh, Selby must be coming back, like they've chosen Selby. So who's going then? I expected him to say Selby, and he said Muhammad Ali, and like a kid who was on development who had won the ABAs because I hadn't gone in the ABAs. I was just so shocked, and I just thought, what? Like, without no box up or nothing like that. So they picked him to go in these first qualifiers. I thought, you know what, just suck it up. And they were saying, listen, he loses, you'll get the chance to qualify at the next one. Your nose will be perfect then, you'll have had a bit of experience, get your ring rust off. I said, alright. So I knocked it off, got back in the gym training, and then before the next qualifier, there was a GB Championships. Me and him, he was training full time then on the podium squad. There were only me and him at the weight because everyone else had gone. So they said, you two are going to fight each other, and then that'll be easy for us to decide who goes to the qualifier. Perfect, you know what I mean? Because before this, he was calling me out in the papers and all sorts, saying I want to fight.
Qualifiers for the Olympics, you mean?
Yeah. So, the GB Championships comes along. We're supposed to fight. I've trained like a demon, you know what I mean? Like, this was my biggest fight of my life. I'd always believed I'd beat him, and a week before, he was sparring, training, everything leading up to it, doing everything you do, you know. There was a few rumours going round that he wasn't that confident and stuff, and then next minute I'm hearing he's pulled out, and he was saying it was because of an old cut, wasn't fully healed, but he was sparring, doing this, doing that.
How long was this before the fight that he pulled out?
A week.
Right.
A week. I sold loads of tickets because it was in Sheffield, these GB Championships.
Right.
And I think I sold most of the tickets for the show. So Rob said, he's pulled out, but we're still going to get your point. So I was gutted, but then I thought to myself, well, he's pulled out, he's going to put me ahead of him now in terms of selection. So they said, I'm going to fly you a Romanian national champion out, and you can box him, you know, in front of all your home fans. It'll be great for you. So I boxed this Romanian national champion, beat him, great to fight at home, and the qualifier selection comes round, get sat down again, and he was like, you're not going? And I remember just like, sort of like looking at the floor, like, I just couldn't believe it. And I sort of got a bit bitter then towards GB and the whole programme, because I just didn't think it was fair. And then from there onwards, I just lost all motivation whatsoever, you know, towards the amateur game. Somehow, I had a little bit of time off once obviously he qualified and stuff, and I knew there was no chance of me going, because if he didn't qualify, I still had a chance to go to, like, there was one more qualifier or something. So yeah, I lost a bit of respect for the whole system. And then I got back in the gym after having summer off watching. I didn't even watch the Olympics. No. I got to be honest. I went on holiday. I put a few bets on or whatever, and then I just fell out of love with it. And then I started to get back in the gym, and then moved up in weight to 56 kilo. And I thought, you know what, just get back in, see how I do. Went to the Tama tournament, won gold, which I'd tried to do 2 years previous, and I won a silver and a silver both times before. So I was finally able to win gold at this new weight of mine, which was a good achievement for me. Boxing the WSB in Italy, over 5 rounds against Akidu, won a bronze in the Europeans. For me, I won it, but I think I got about 1 round on the judges' scorecards, which again made me think, oh, sod this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't deserve it. So I stayed in the gym, ticked over, and when my contract ran out, Rob spoke to me about going in the ABAs and stuff, and I said, Rob, I don't want to be here anymore. And he said, you know what, Jack? He says, I think you're right. He goes, I think it's time for you to, you know, have a break, maybe go professional. You know what I mean? And I left on completely good terms with GB. Like, I love everyone down there. All the coaches done so much for me. But it was just time for me to leave. And even when I left, I wasn't that. I just had a little bit of time out of boxing and just ticked over, and I was going around sparring, just enjoying life a little bit, doing normal things. And then when I got back on it, I felt the motivation came back, and I had a new goal then, you know, to go pro. And it was just good. I managed to get a couple of sponsors on board so that I could do it full time, which I was lucky to have. You know, the likes of especially Jason Hildon at Hildon Properties. And from there onwards, like, in the space of 8 or 9 months, I've had 6 fights now, and not many pros can say they've had that many, even in a year. So I'm lucky to have the team I've got behind me.
I just want to, I know obviously you finished talking about your professional, but just to rewind a little bit, did you think Muhammad Ali pulled out? Was it a real injury, do you think?
No.
Or no?
I've sparred thousands of rounds with him from a schoolboy. We started sparring at schoolboy. His dad had come to my dad's house, and we'd spar in my garage in a ring. I'd film it, he'd film it, and we'd just like help each other out. He was a little bit heavier than me at one point, and then
would you say you were friends? Or?
We were friends, yeah, we were friends. Like, and then next minute, he's calling me out, you know, saying I want to fight Jack Bateson in the papers and stuff. I understand it's a sport and it's a business, and he wants to get to where he wants to be, but there's respect, and he's got no respect as a person, as a human being, and his dad's exactly the same. And you know what? They've done what they had to do. They went to the Olympics, and they fell at the hurdle, but fair play to him, you know what I mean? But it's not the way I'd have done it. I'd have liked to have boxed and earned my place. I don't think it was an injury at the time, but it is what it is. Like, it's the past. I am over it, but it did take me a while to get over, but it is what it is.
And like you're saying, so I don't want to like bang on this because I know
no, it's fine.
But Why did you think that they selected him over yourself when he pulled out? And like you said, that you were sort of there for, like you'd been there for years and you'd won 2 ABA titles and that sort of thing.
I'm not sure, because if we'd have boxed, obviously, it'd have been a fairer way. But maybe because he'd had less experience as a senior, and when he boxed as a senior, he'd done okay. They might have had more belief in him, maybe because I'd been a senior a while and not achieved massive achievements. I mean, I won a European bronze medal. At one point I was ranked like number 9 in the world, but that was earlier, and when I was at 49 kilo. I'm not sure, but I think they might have believed in him a bit more than what they did me. But for me, the fairest way is that you box, and the better person goes.
Yeah.
Because if he'd have beat me, I said, boom, fair play, shook his hand, and that is like, at least then when I can grow old and say, oh, I had the opportunity and it didn't work out. I might get old now and think, oh, what if, you know what I mean? What if? But yeah, it is what it is.
And another thing as well, you were a Sky Sports scholar as well.
Yeah,
when did that all happen, and what is a Sky Sports scholar?
When I won the European Championships and the ABAs for the second time, Sky Sports got in touch and they said they want to support me on the scholarship system, which is run by the Sky Academy, where they fund you, so they give you a yearly sponsorship, and that's for 4 years, right up until the Olympics. So they choose a selection of, I think there was 12 athletes, all sports across all different areas, and ones that they believe are going to go to the Olympics, and they like to follow the journey sort of thing. So they'll come to James, do a few interviews, maybe give you a bit of media training and stuff like that. So that helped me massively. Like, I had Johnny Nelson as my mentor. There was times when I would ring him, when I did not get selected for the first qualifier, I rung Johnny. He was the first person I rung, I think, and just told him how upset I was and stuff, and told him what had happened, because I wanted Sky to know, obviously, and I thought it'd be nice to come from him, after I've spoke to him. And he just said, listen, because he came down and watched me do a bit of sparring, and he thought I'd done really well. That was with Ali, and he just said, listen, don't worry about it. He's been high in the boxing game, and he's been low. He said there was times in the amateurs he said he did nothing, and he said, look, your time will come. And he's right, like, everything happens for a reason, and I really do believe that. And the Sky scholarship system helped me massively, but like, not just with funding, but with all the opportunities it gave me. Like, I've got a big network system now where I'm still in touch with these, like Johnny Nelson and stuff, and Adam Smith, who it's great to experience that you can't buy just talking to them, you know what I mean? Like, they've seen and been there and seen it all.
So you were full time at GB and on a Sky scholarship. Were you on, obviously I'm not going to ask you how much you were earning, but were you on good money at the time? For an amateur boxer who was relatively young, I was on good money at the time, and but I don't think people realise, like, I cut everything out of my life. My boxing was my life. Like, my friends will tell you, from a young age, like, I sacrificed so much. The GB coach will tell you I was like the first in the gym, the last out. But my friends will tell you, like, I just had that dream, and if anything I worked a little bit too hard, and I think that's where the whole pressure thing came from. Like, I'd worked that hard for it, and I put so much pressure on myself. Like, I think I was scared of the thought of failure, and since I've become pro, I've took a bit of pressure off myself, and like, obviously not making the Olympics and stuff, I realised, like, if boxing ended tomorrow, like, it's been good to me. And I think that's like, I used to sit down with Luke Campbell, and he used to say, listen, don't put pressure on yourself. Like, he said I remind him of a younger him. He says he used to put loads of pressure on himself. He said what he used to do sometimes before amateur fights, like, when he used to get nervous, he said he used to sit down and just write down, like, what he could be if boxing all ended for him tomorrow, what jobs he could go down. And he said it used to make him feel better, and it like, talking to the likes of him and stuff, it really did help, because
you can take advice and whatever. I even got to a point where I wasn't sleeping on a night. Like I went to see a hypnotist, you know, to like help me sleep on a night. Like I really did sacrifice a lot, you know. I still do now, but growing up, I just think I was a bit extreme, to be honest. But
what was going to see a hypnotist like? I've got to ask you about that. Were you not sleeping on like the night, just like
the night
together,
before? No,
or was it
like,
night before, or
like the week of the fight or the night before? Because I think a bit of it would be excitement and a bit of it had been like nerves. But I think it was just, I think looking back now, it was the pressure, me putting pressure on myself. Like I've got to win this, you know what I mean? Like I wanted it that bad. And it worked a little bit, but when I look back now, I'm just like, I went to extremes, you know, to achieve. I used to be, I used to live like a monk, like literally. There was a point when I was a kid in high school, I wouldn't go out and meet my friends because I was scared of catching a cold or whatever, you know, from staying out and stuff, you know, playing out and whatever. And when I look back, I'm like, I was nuts, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's crazy how much you can want something, but you learn, don't you? Like, and I'm in a position today because I worked so hard, and like, I was on good money, like you say, but I worked hard for it.
Yeah. Just final question in terms of the amateurs. You said you're on good money, but is that like, I'm guessing, what was it going from sort of, you know, from nothing to good money, basically?
It was good, but I've never, like, luckily boxing has been my life all my life, and I've never had the feeling of going to work, you know, like labour or whatever. Like I've always boxed and earned a living from boxing, so I can't really compare it, but it was amazing when I started to earn money from boxing, because like you say, when I was an amateur boxer up until about the age of 17, I didn't earn nothing from it. So when money did start to come in from it, it was surreal. It was like almost like a bonus. Like even now with the pro game, I get paid per fight, but if I'm not thinking about that, and then I'll fight and I'll be buzzing, and then like I'll get my wage, you know, from the promoter. I'll be like, bloody hell, it's a bonus, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the last thing on my mind, but it makes it that much easier, because at the end of the day we've all got to earn a living, haven't we? Because without that, like, what's life, you know what I mean?
I said final question last time, but this is
no, it's fine.
Were you ever tempted to sort of, obviously with the whole Muhammad Ali thing, you didn't get selected for 2016, were you ever tempted to sort of stay on and try and go to another Olympics, or was it you just
completely out of the question? I fell out of love with, like, even the sport. I didn't even think about going pro for a while. Like I just thought, I remember for months actually, like a couple of months. Well, this was when I didn't have fights lined up on the GB squad. I just didn't want to be in the gym. Like my alarm, what happens is you train on the morning, you train at lunch, and then you train on the night. So you go back in between the sessions and you sleep. You eat and you sleep. So when my alarm would go off, it was like the worst thing. It was like, oh my god, I've got to go and train, and I didn't want to train, and I'd go do the session, and it went through a stage where I'd be on the bag and I would be like thinking, bloody hell, I just wasn't even there. Like my mind wasn't there. My mind was in another place, and I was thinking, what am I going to do when I get home and whatever. I just completely fell out of love with it. But luckily, once I had that break, I got the love back.
Did you ever consider stop boxing?
Yeah, but I was in a contract, and that was my money and my income.
Yeah.
Unless GB were going to kick me off, but I was still achieving, so they were never going to kick me off. So I just sort of like went through the process and just ticked over. It was a strange one, really. Like, I won't wish it on anyone, but once the contract was over, and I did worry about saying to the coach, like, I'm done, you know what I mean? Like, and I worried, like, would I do well as a pro and stuff? And like, I know I'm a long way off from achieving my goals as a pro, but it's going well so far. So there was a lot going through my mind in terms of what am I going to do now, and am I going to get the love back, but it's all worked out for the best, really.
Do you feel that obviously that disappointment of not making the Olympics, do you feel that that's giving you sort of extra motivation to like go on now and go into the pros, and obviously you've not made the Olympics, you've not got that like we've seen other Olympians that've gone on to Sky shows and the boxing all around the country in American stuff.
Achieve big,
and obviously you've not got that, but to try and sort of use that as like motivation to go, forget that. I'm going to prove you wrong in the professionals now.
Of course, it is fuel for the fire. Like, I would love to do well in the pros now, win titles, and sort of say, I was the man, to go to the Olympics. Like, I should have gone and done that, but because I didn't, I feel everything does happen for a reason. Maybe if I'd have gone to the Olympics and done so well, maybe I'd have took my foot off the gas a little bit. So it has motivated me now, and when times do get hard, I think like, no, you've got to achieve something. Like, I want to have something to look back on. Like, I've achieved things in the amateurs, but my ultimate goal was obviously the Olympics, which never worked. But my ultimate goal now is to win a world title, British title, and stuff like that. So it is fuel for the fire that things haven't worked out.
And so you don't make. I'm trying to sort of put like a timeline on things. So when was the qualifier that so you beat the Romanian guy? When was that? Was that early 2016 or?
It was. I think it was just before Christmas. It was just before Christmas. So it was the end of 2015.
Right.
And all the qualifiers for 2016 were early 2016. So we were all back in the gym then, and then. Obviously,
and then you have the break.
Yeah, we had a little break over Christmas, and then the qualifiers all started like February or March or something.
Right. And then when do you leave Team GB? When does that happen? Sort of 2016 or?
It was 2016. I think he qualified. He qualified for the Olympics in. I think it might have been like April or May.
Right.
And I had a little bit of a breather then, because like I knew I wasn't going to the Olympics and stuff. When they went to the Olympics, I enjoyed some time, went away with my friends, did like not stuff normal people my age would have done, just go out there and chill a little bit. And then I got back on it because my contract was through to 2017, so I couldn't just leave straight away.
Right.
So I got back on it, moved up weight, went to the Tama tournament at the end of 2016, boxed and won gold, and then I went to the WSB, and I went on like a few training camps and stuff. Like, I went to America for 2 weeks with GB, so I was still doing stuff with them, and then I went to Italy in the WSB. I think that was it was about March.
Yeah, and that's sort of a professional amateur tournament.
Yeah, it's five
right?
It's basically a pro fight.
Yeah.
5 threes against a good caliber opponent, and you can actually box pros, so pros can fight in the WSB. So I did that out there, and then I left GB. I think my contract was I think it was May 2017.
Ah, right. So then 3 months later, you're in your professionals. That seems like quite a quick.
It was. It didn't seem like it at the time, but I had a little bit of a break, and then I was back in the gym, and I think, like you say, September was my debut, so it was quite a quick turnaround, really. So I haven't been out I wasn't out the ring that long.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quicker than when you put it that way. It is.
Was there like a light bulb moment where you thought, I'm going to go professional, or was it sort of always in your mind from being an amateur? Or
yeah, I always knew I would eventually go professional and give it a go, because I'd have always kicked myself if I didn't.
Yeah.
And then when I was ticking over and I finished I would always tick over, and sometimes, like, my dad was training pros for his shows that he always has. I'd spar with them, I'd go around sparring, and I thought, I'm doing alright, and I was mixing it with some good kids. And then he says, right, I said, I'll sign as a pro. So I went and got my license and stuff, and my dad said, I've got a show in September. He said, I'll put you on it. I said, yeah, of course. and then like just he sort of said to me, I want you to have this many. I want you to have 3 fights before the end of the year. I got all my training sorted. Like I've got an S&C coach now who I'm doing constant work with at Unique Fitness. His name's David Norris.
Former Leeds United footballer.
Former Leeds United footballer, yeah. And like he's been a big element to my game. I feel like I've become much stronger since turning pro. Obviously I'm a little bit heavier at the minute because I'm fighting at super bantamweight, and my fights on the day have been featherweight when I go to weigh in on the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's all work. And then I had Christmas off, and then we sat down with my dad, my uncle, and we can set time limits now. Like I'm sort of saying, right, we want to have 3 fights before summer. Done again. So again, we're setting goals and working towards them. So eventually, like I'm saying, I want to be a world champion, or eventually we will set a goal at the start of the year and say, right, listen, I want to win this title or that title. And without a goal, what do you work towards? So there will be years when it's the right time, I will look at titles and I think I want to win that, and hopefully it'll be a few years down the line, hopefully I can win some big titles.
Professional debut September. You stopped somebody whose name I don't know.
Suzol Zarkozy, some Hungarian geezer, yeah.
That'll do it. First round. How was that whole experience?
Oh, it was unreal. Like I had a massive crowd turnout. When I look back at the videos, it was ridiculous. Like how many people turned out to come support me.
Estimate number, do you?
I can't even tell you, but I think the place there must have been 1,000 people in there, and probably when I came out, like everyone was on their feet. You know what I mean? So it was good. And then it was just a bit strange. Like I've been to my dad's been doing these shows for 18, 20 years, and I've gone to watch them since I was a little kid, like watching meeting stars like Ricky Hatton and stuff when he's had people there. And I remember like it's just weird me fighting on it and walking out, but it felt like home because like for me now that will be the lion's den for me, because when people come and fight me at Ellen Road and my dad puts on shows, and whether it's in a normal fight or for titles or whatever, that will be my ground, you know what I mean? That's my, like, it feels so normal because I've been there so many times and seen it in the changing rooms and whatever. It feels so normal, so it was good.
And then you boxed. Was it second fight?
Was against a Polish guy.
And was that was on the Warrington
Sealand card.
Yeah. How was first direct arena?
That was good too. I sold a lot of tickets for that.
Yeah, I remember being at the weigh-in for that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who you were.
That was good because
And I didn't know who you were at that point, and I was watching it, and then were you on? I don't think you were on first. Who was on?
I was on like third. I think Jack Daniel might have been on first.
Yeah.
Someone else.
So I went there to interview Darren Tetley for a uni assignment. This was before I'd met Darren or you were.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then I interviewed Darren, and I thought, I might as well stay for this weigh-in.
Yeah.
And then a couple of kids come up, I can't remember the name now. And then, it was like, this is me like clapping. And then you go up, and then the people like up on that balcony at the Corn Exchange, just cheering and cheering. It was like a bigger reception than Warrington got.
Yeah, it's good. I've always had a good following. I think, like with my dad doing shows and stuff, and like I'm lucky to have a good following. Like I've got some really good friends in Leeds, and it's good. Like it makes a difference when you go to a weigh-in and people are cheering and stuff, or when you come out, it gives you that motivation and spurs you on. And I know throughout my amateur career they'd have been at all my fights if they could, but if I wasn't fighting in Romania or Russia or Kazakhstan, wherever it was. Yeah. So it's nice to go from that, fighting in sports halls in Kazakhstan against some tough little 30-year-old from Russia with a hairy chest and no teeth, to fighting at home in Leeds. It's good. Like it's all experience, and like I've had a lot of experience in the game to say I've been in it such a short time. And well, I think it's a short time, but it's
I'm just bringing up your box right here because
Yeah.
I want to ask about looking at your opponents. So you've been in with some good names, Brett Fido,
Yeah.
Miguel Aguilar.
That's it.
You
Yeah.
know,
Jose
obviously
Aguilar. Yeah.
On paper, with people
Yeah.
who perhaps haven't seen them before or don't know who they
Yeah.
are, you sort of think that they,
Yeah.
like easy opponents, but
Yeah. Well, the
Tough fight,
records aren't very good, and if someone was to go on BoxRec and see a few losses and whatever, they would think, oh, you know, he's fighting a nobody. But if they saw their fights with other kids and seen like Brett Fido, he's beat some good kids,
Yeah.
and he's a good journeyman. Like, obviously at this stage in my career, they can't expect me to jump in with world beaters straight away. Like, I'm still learning in the game, and these sort of opponents are great for me. Obviously, my first fight was against someone who had seven. He'd had 7 fights. On paper, he'd had 7 fights. Won 5, lost 1, and drawn 1. Like a pro debut, that's a good record.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit younger than me, and he was from Hungary, and the only guy to beat him was someone who boxed for European titles and all sorts. And for someone to take that risk, like he was a bit of a banana skin, so he could have turned up and been shit hot, or he could have turned up and been like not very good at all. But for me to take that risk and never see a video or nothing, like I was confident because I've mixed it at a good level in the amateurs. Like I would rather do that than jump in with someone who's not very good and just come to survive. Like I feel I'll perform better the better the person in front of me. So when someone comes to have a go, that's when I'll perform better.
Yeah, and obviously Brett Fido, when you boxed him, 7 wins, 40 losses, 3 defeats. But like I said, he's only been stopped a handful of times, like one stoppage in that time, and I think he's beaten. I'm pretty sure he beat Brad Watson, who's English champion.
Yeah, he beat Brad Watson, English champion. He's beat that. Is it George Brannan or something like that?
I don't know.
He's beat a few like kids with winning records. You know what I'm saying?
George Brennan. So, but the point is that you know, on paper they don't. The people who don't know.
But it's good learning fights for me. And those last 4 guys I've fought, I think 3 of them have been like Spain based. You know, Aguilar, Hernandez, and the other one, Castillo.
Castillo, correct.
They've been tough men. I hit them with some hard shots, and if I'd have hit the first 2 people I boxed with them, they'd have gone down. And you see like how tough they are, and my hands are sore as anything when I come out of these fights, and I think these are tough men. Like I'm getting the rounds in against these hard men, and like people don't often see how tough some of them are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they do have a go. These are sort of journeymen that do come to have a go, and if they can beat you, they'll beat you, and you do see on the records that is the case.
Yeah. Let's talk about ticket selling. I know you said that you've always sort of had a good following and that sort of thing. Was that was that not a concern for you going into professionals?
No. I mean, I've always known I'll sell enough tickets to put me on shows.
Yeah.
But for me to be able to sell tickets and maybe do well and get opportunities out of it is another thing. Like I'm lucky to be able to sell a lot of tickets, and it gives, when I fight on like Frank Warren's show and stuff, and if I can get a little percentage of how many tickets I sell, it gives me an incentive then. So I want to sell tickets, and for people that, some people get in touch with me and say, oh, are you selling tickets? Because I'd rather get them off you than through the internet, because obviously I know it might give you a bit of a wage, and I appreciate that so much. So those people that do that, I'm thankful for, and at this stage of my career, every little does help, because you know, for the fights and stuff, I'm not earning a right lot of money, but every little helps, you know what I mean? So, but it's good. I get about, I'm selling tickets, I'm meeting people, and it gives me a chance to say thank you to them. So when I'm meeting them with tickets and whatever, it gives me a chance to say thank you. And obviously on the night, once I've boxed, I don't always get the chance to go out and see every single person and say thanks, and it is nice to, you know, interact with people, and rather than just sell them online and just ship them out, actually meet people and talk to them about it, and just, you know, thank them for supporting me.
And you said you sold £60,000 worth of tickets for that Ellen Road show.
Yeah.
How much of that do you see?
Well, they say you get like 10% of however many tickets you sell, but it all cuts down. You know what I mean? Like I think it ends up at like 6-7% or like something like that.
Is that after you've given
That's
parts
after
to
you.
like promoter
Yeah,
and right,
something like.
yeah.
But there's also like it gets taxed and stuff that. So I don't know how it works out, but I leave my old man, my manager, sort it all out. But it's it does help me the more I can sell tickets to people. So I am thankful for those that do get in touch with me, especially when they say, "Oh, I'd rather," you know.
Yeah.
It does make a difference, and it shows that they are thinking.
Mm.
So it's good.
So you turned professional with your dad.
Yeah.
Trained by your uncle, and like I said, you had talks with the bigger name promoters.
Yeah.
Do you sort of see that as a good decision now that the fact that you're 6-0,
Yeah.
you've not even been professional a year, and that you're probably boxing more on smaller hall shows, which is probably better for you than boxing only a few times, but on the bigger shows.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Yeah.
I've got the best of both worlds. Like, say, I didn't fight on these small hall shows, and I had to wait for every time someone puts a show on in Leeds, a big show. I might have only had 2 fights by now.
Yeah.
Which, and then I'd be chasing and then they might say to me, "How many tickets can you sell?" And that might be in Manchester or whatever. I've fought 6 times in Leeds, all at Ellen Road or the First Direct Arena, which are big Leeds staples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've got the best of both. Like, I'm fighting on a small hall show, I'm fighting on a big show. Even if I'm on early, I'm part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm getting that experience. I mean, eventually, when the time comes when hopefully I do sign with someone big in terms of promotion, or my dad gets to that level or whatever, then I will fight later. And in an ideal world, on that last show at Ellen Road, it'd have been like me, Nicola, and then Warrington obviously, and I'm sure a lot of people would have liked that, you know, most people being from Leeds there, but I'm not at that stage yet, and hopefully eventually that is the sort of thing I want it to be.
Let's say fast forward 12 months time, I'm back here in your house doing this interview.
Yeah.
You're, let's say 12-0, 11-0.
Yeah.
You're looking for a British title shot or some sort of title shot. Would a show on your dad's show, obviously being the smaller shows at the Ellen Road Pavilion, would they be able to fund a shot at a title, or would you have to go to a Frank Warren show or a wherever show, maybe it's, you know?
Well, purse bids go in for it, but my dad's told me like he can take me to a British title or an English title on his shows.
Yeah.
So I think for him that's the goal, and I think for him the goal has always been to maybe take titles to his shows. I mean, he's had people box for titles on his shows, but maybe like area titles or masters. But I'm sure he's confident that he can take me to that at his. But if it was somewhere else on a big show, then yeah, why not? But wherever it is, like, I'm easy. Obviously it'd be nice to do it on my dad's show and say, you know, we're together, like, look back and say he's put up this, I've won it on my dad's show, sort of thing. I mean, obviously I've got to win it and put the work into, you know, get it done, but that's the goal.
And in terms of where you'd like to be in 12 months time, have you got, like, or even by the end of the year, what are the sort of short-term, long-term goals in terms of the amount of fights you want to have and step-ups and that sort of thing?
Yeah. I'd say at the end of the year, September, before the end of the year, I want to have 2 more fights, 6 rounds. My last fight, I was hoping to get a 6-rounder in, but with the time limits on the Frank Warren show, they couldn't put me in as a 6-rounder, so I'm hoping to do 2 6-rounders.
So you've not been 6 rounds before?
I've not been 6 rounds. The most I've been is 5, and that was as an amateur. These have all been 4 rounds, these pro fights so far, so I want to do 2 6-rounders, and then next year look to have maybe 4 or 5 fights. Obviously the more rounds I do per fight, the more time I might need in between fights. Obviously because I've only done 4 rounds, I've been able to get back in very quickly, and then as soon as I'm ready, you know, to go to 8s, 10s, like at the end of next year I want to be doing 8 rounders, 10 rounders, like, but when the time's right, I know, all being well, like my dad will put me in for that sort of stuff, and I just need to be doing it and being confident that I can do them sort of rounds, which shouldn't be a problem at all. Like, I'm quite fit as it is. It's just taking the right route and not rushing it. I see a lot of people turn pro from the amateurs and take 2 steps ahead, you know, than what they should be. Like, what's the rush? Look at Josh. Like, I think he won his first title. Was it 2012?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think Josh had like 15, 16 fights before he fought for an English.
That's what I mean. And he won the English title in like 2012. I think it was like, I saw something the other day. Then the next year, British.
Yeah.
Then the next year or 2 year Commonwealth. Yeah. Then the next year, like, it is a process. Like, it is a big process, and I know I'm still learning. So, yeah, I'm far from there yet, but I'm closer than I was yesterday. So.
And we were speaking off recording about sparring. So you're travelling a lot in terms of your sparring and going elsewhere. Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, when I'm in camp, I'm barely training in Leeds. Like, I'm travel a lot for my sparring, but sometimes it brings the best out of me. You know, being out of your comfort zone, going to someone else's gym and sparring, rather than being in your own gym and doing the usual thing, sparring with your club mates who you train with every day.
Who are the sort of people that you've been in with in sparring?
I get some really good sparring with the likes of Zelfa Barrett, who always helps me out. Pat Barrett and Paulie down at Collyhurst and Moston, great group of people. The likes of Tom Ward and Martin Ward, the brothers, with Neil Flannan, they're great sparring for me, great people. But we go all over, like Sunderland with Dave Binns' fighters. Wherever there is the opportunity to spar with good kids, like we go to Manchester a lot as well, north side with Akib Fayaz. So, and I do a lot of work with like amateurs because their pace is really good. Like, as an amateur, I know I used to spar with a lot of pros, and when I was on the GB squad I'd spar with the likes of Kamal Yafai and stuff and Cal, because they're fighting longer rounds, but I might do 4 rounds with them, jump out at a fast pace, and then someone else will jump in. So it's the best sort of work you can get. Like, if you can stay at that pace as a pro, at an amateur's pace, then you're doing all right. So that's sort of the sort of work I like to mix up and, you know, get the best of both.
Jack, we're going to move to some questions now.
Yep.
I'm going to just find them.
Of course.
So just
no problem.
People have been sending them in good numbers.
Yep.
So I'll just load those up. So you're back out in September as well. September 7th.
September the 7th. On my dad's show in joint promotion with Detox, Danny Fortin. So Bateson Promotions along with Detox. So should be a good show. Some good fighters on it again. I think Damon Jones is making his comeback fight.
Yeah, Billy Pickles on there.
Billy Pickles is on there. Mick Lehman, Hamid Gaz, the usual sort of fighters on my dad's show. And,
Jack Sellers.
Jack Sellers, yeah. So there's also a lad called Ishmael Davis making his pro debut. So there's a lot of good times coming for Leeds.
I've seen that other thing. Is it 1,000? Is it right that the fighter of the night gets £1,000? Is that right?
Yeah, someone. A good friend of mine, Pete from True North Rigging Solutions, he's put £1,000 up for as a sponsor for the fighter of the night. I don't know who decides the fighter of the night or whatever.
That's my next question.
Yeah, I don't know who decides it. I'm sure they'll work it out between them, but it gives us lot an incentive, you know, to go out there and put on a good show. I mean, some people can go out there and be wary, but when there's another £1,000 at stake, you know, for us young fighters, like going out there to make a living, it's a lot, and it might be an entertaining night for everyone else watching. You know what I mean?
A bit like UFC, that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But
I'm not seeing it too much.
I've not seen it, so it will bring a different aspect to the night, which will be good.
Right, I've got the questions loaded up here, Jack, so I'll fire them to you. Daniel Boyle has asked, I think you know this one. Would you rather fight a duck the size of a horse or 100 horse-sized ducks?
Daniel, I can always rely on Daniel to put a good question in for me. So I would say, not a duck the size of a horse, because I wouldn't fancy that one, but a load of horses the size of ducks, because I just kick them.
Right.
But yeah,
Good thing.
I'll be happy with that, Dan.
Jamie Dyer has asked, who does that rascal fade?
Well, that rascal fade is always done by my good friend Tony Leo from Jack's Barbershops. So he's a good friend of mine, and he's always doing this rascal fade. Cheers, Jamie.
Moving on to more serious questions.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Jack asks. Avril Jones.
Avril Jones.
Avril
Yeah, that's
Jones,
it. I see in 5 years, Avril, I'd say, well, all being well, I hope to be a holder of many titles, and pushing to, if not holding, a world title. Like,
what weight do you see yourself fighting at? Featherweight?
Super bantam or feather. Like, for now it'll be super bantam. Eventually I might end up moving up to feather by the time 5 years comes, as I mature. But in 5 years' time, I like to think that is a realistic goal for me at 29 years old, to be holding maybe a world title or pushing for one. Hopefully I'll be at the peak of my career. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. Bex Stone has asked a bit of a long one, so
okay.
Bear with me for this. What has kept you motivated through your boxing career, from a small boy into representing Team GB and then transitioning into the pros after the disappointment of not making it to the Olympics? It's been a very long career in which time many young prospects come and go. How have you been one of the only few who stand the test of time? So a little bit about, sort of like, firstly, what's the motivation? I think we've touched on it a little bit, but like is there any sort of, I know you've had like little like goals, but is there any like clear motivation like throughout your career that you sort of stand on?
I think for me, I've just kept going. Like, I've got nothing else in my life but boxing. Like, boxing is my be all and end all. I know there would be other routes I can go down and follow up if it was all to end tomorrow, but like, I can't imagine my life without boxing. You do see a lot of people come and go. There's been a lot of amazing amateurs when I was young growing up that have stopped, and I think if I had their talent, or if they worked as hard as me, imagine how good they'd be. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, but people come and go and decide to go different routes. People come back after having a bit of time off. For me, it has just always been the fact that I have goals and dreams, and eventually I want to achieve them before I do decide to pack it in. And if I don't achieve them, at least I can say I've given it my all, and not have to look back and say what if. But yeah, I think that's the main thing for me.
There was another question that was posted on mine about your idols growing up, so like, so boxing idols and sort of non-boxing idols. I'm trying to find the person who said it, but is there anyone that sticks out that you watched growing up? Yeah,
growing up, for me was always Roy Jones Jr. Not necessarily Roy Jones Jr. as he finished his career, but like, I loved watching him, his highlight videos, you know, on YouTube and stuff when he was in his prime. Like, I remember waking up on a morning before I'd go to the schoolboys or the juniors, you know, before my fights, and watching it to get me in the, you know, the mood. And it used to give me goosebumps, like, watching him. He was unbelievable. I haven't had that many idols in terms of boxers. Like, I do like a lot of boxers and stuff, but there's no one that I've like absolutely loved. Like, I went through a bit of a Pernell Whitaker stage, who was an amazing fighter. I like someone who can do stuff a little bit different. At the minute, I like Linares and Lomachenko. To see them fight the other week was really good. For me, I always thought Lomachenko was going to beat him, because I can't see anyone beating Lomachenko, honestly, I really can't. So I sort of had a feeling he was going to win, but they've both got the different dimensions, and like some of the stuff Lomachenko does, it's amazing to watch these sort of fighters and try things out in sparring or on the bag or in the gym, and you don't realise how hard it is to do until you actually try to do it yourself. Like, it's a mad one really, but it's good.
Did you ever come across Lomachenko, obviously? he was in the amateurs for such a long time.
He was a bit before me, but a lot of the people that I was on the system with grew up at his age. We were going through schoolboy, junior, going to Europe, and they said he was the same now as what he was like then. Like they said, he was just a freak. Like they said, as a schoolboy, he was like stopping kids. Like at the age of like 11, 12, like stopping kids.
Yeah.
Junior the same. Like they said, he won and won and won. Like well, his amateur record says it all.
It was Aidan Dryhurst who asked that. Who was your favourite boxer growing up? Just give him a shout. Is there any British boxer at the minute you sort of enjoy watching, or you'll always watch his fights?
British fighters. There's a lot of good British fighters out there. There's a lot of good ones coming through. Just trying to think now. Not really. I mean, there's a lot of big, great fighters out there, but it's just nice to take a little bit off every single one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, Jack, thanks so much for your time. I think that's about it, really. I've run out of questions.
No, thanks again for coming, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come down. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out just on your shirts?
Jason Heselden of Heselden Properties Limited, Victoria Gate Casino, Darren Lung at Quantbet, The Fitness Kitchen UK, and Hugh Boyle at HB Tunnelling. It won't be possible without all your help. I really appreciate it. And yeah, September 7th is the next one, so
look forward to it, Jack.
Brilliant.
Speak to you there. Thanks so much for your time.
Brilliant, thank you.